News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
News Talk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
MSU professor sues Walmart for racial discrimination and libel. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning. It is Tuesday, April 18th, 2017. Right now we have a cloudy sky, 37 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning sponsored by First Montana Bank, your home for free Centennial checking. Get unlimited cash back when you use your debit card as well. Check them out at firstmontanabank.com. Our top story this morning, an assistant professor at Montana State University at Bozeman, who has filed a complaint with the Human Rights Bureau against Walmart over a fishing license, has gained national attention. Professor Gilbert Kalunde, who is African-American, was offended when the Walmart license clerk listed his profession as cleaning toilets, and thus subjected the professor to ridicule and abuse. Professor Kalunde in the ACLU of Montana has filed the claim against Walmart on his behalf for racial discrimination. Here's Legal Director Jim Taylor.
We actually have already filed a racial discrimination claim with the Human Rights Bureau, and that's being processed. But the problem is there's also a claim for libel because this was clearly done on the basis of race to expose him to hatred and ridicule in the public.
Taylor said Professor Kalunde just wants the matter set right and for Walmart to admit its wrongdoing.
The primary thing we want is for justice for him. We want people to understand that he was deliberately mocked, demeaned on the basis of race. Walmart has to date not apologized for it in writing or addressed the training program that they need to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Walmart eventually issued Professor Kalunde a new fishing license, but as of Monday, there has still been no written apology. Authorities say a worker was struck and killed by a vehicle in a construction zone on I-90 in southern Montana. The Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports the woman, whose name and age have not yet been released, was run over near Livingston Monday afternoon. She died at the scene. The Park County Sheriff's Office and the Montana Highway Patrol are all investigating. Authorities have not released any details about the driver or how the woman was struck. Missoula police arrested a man accused of attacking his family Saturday evening in the 2300 block of West Broadway. According to Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh, police arrived after the man's sons called 911 just before 9 p.m.
The male involved was very intoxicated and had been arguing and yelling at his sons, who are 19 and 22 years old. The female attempted to intervene, and the male turned toward her and actually picked her up and threw her on a bed, and then later squeezed her in what was described as a bear hug before getting into a physical struggle with the two boys.
Apparently, the boys told their father the police had been called and were on their way, at which point the suspect ran out the back door.
That male is identified as 47-year-old Eugene Lewandowski, who was located a short distance away and was subsequently arrested for partner or family member assault. He had gotten farther than his backyard, but he was seen running in the immediate area of the residence by officers who were patrolling around and looking for him, and he was picked up rather quickly.
Welsh said Lewandowski is facing a felony charge because he's been convicted of partner or family member assault at least twice before. Congress may not know what to do about former President Obama's Affordable Care Act, but Montana lawmakers are pushing through legislation they believe will bring down health care costs and increase price transparency regardless of what happens in Washington. A half dozen measures are still alive as the 27th legislature enters its final days. One would allow the state insurance commissioner to draw up plans for a high-risk insurance pool. Another would authorize out-of-state insurers to sell policies in Montana. Two bills are meant to better inform patients about prices for health care services and know what their insurers will and won't cover. Another bill would give tax credits to small companies that offer high-deductible health insurance plans to their employees. And the sixth measure calls for a study on health care price transparency. Montana Senator Steve Daines returned this weekend from a trip to China where he talked about trade, but the majority of questions with Chinese leaders revolved around North Korea. Daines said wherever he went in China, there were questions about North Korea and its nuclear threats to its neighbors, South Korea, Japan, and even the United States.
We were very direct in asking the Chinese to help us with trade sanctions and so forth with North Korea because China is North Korea's largest trading partner. About 90% of North Korea's trade occurs with China, so they'll be very key here terms of sanctions and using trade as a lever to stop the nuclear program there in North Korea.
The focus of trade with China was all about Montana beef, as Danes actually transported a cooler with 4 Montana beefsteaks to deliver to the Chinese premier. From Miles City rancher Fred Wacker.
Then I gave him a picture, a photograph that Fred Wacker gave me of Fred's ranch, so the premier could see literally where those calves were born, where they grew up. And in fact, the premier looked at the picture of Fred Wacker, and in broken English, he said, "Is that a cowboy?" And I said, "Yes, that's a Montana cowboy right there, Fred Wacker."
China is Montana's 3rd largest trading partner behind Canada and South Korea. Cascade County authorities have identified a Canadian man who was killed after his minivan struck a tractor trailer that left the scene of the crash on I-15 in northern Montana. Sheriff Bob Edwards said 72-year-old Marvin Knutson of Swift Current, Saskatchewan, died late Saturday when his van hit a truck as it used an authorized vehicle-only area to cross the median and enter a way station near Great Falls. Investigators with the Montana Highway Patrol say the truck driver stopped briefly near the way station, then continued north on I-15. The truck was hauling 2x4 lumber, should have damage on the right rear side of the trailer. Missoula Sentinel High School sophomore Emma Blakely has single-handedly raised nearly $5,000 to help fight childhood hunger. She did such a good job that Montana Governor Steve Bullock came all the way from Helena to honor her yesterday, appropriately enough, in the school cafeteria. Blakely said her goal to start the project was modest.
I decided to fundraise and send 40 letters out to local businesses to fundraise for a new fridge and freezer for Sentinel High School, in addition to stock the fridge and freezer with fresh produce. My goal was $1,000 and I was able to raise almost $5,000, which was incredible, and I was able to use the money in various ways, which was very exciting.
Governor Bullock praised Blakely for tackling what he called a solvable problem. That's childhood hunger.
We deal with so many complex issues each and every day that be it in Helena or throughout our state, where the problems are how do we solve it. But ending childhood hunger is something that we ought to be able to do. We just figure out ways to feed kids and to plant gardens and provide the resources and infrastructure that Emma's done here at Sentinel.
As Sentinel Principal Ted Fuller praised Blakely's efforts in conjunction with the Missoula Food Bank.
Through Kids Table and our partnership with the Food Bank, which again we wouldn't be able to do had she not raised this money.
Done the good work to raise all that.
We have extra food, and so the leftovers are here in this room, and students can come and get a snack, get a little bit of extra lunch if they need it, and then food to go home as well.
Blakely showed Governor and Mrs. Bullock the new refrigerator and freezer, then took them on a tour of the garden growing outside the walls of Sentinel High School. Our News Talk time is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies today with scattered showers. Daytime highs will be in the mid-50s. Tonight, showers early. Overnight lows will drop into the mid-30s, mostly sunny on Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.